Hi, it's Rachel here. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I've been overwhelmed by people's response to my videos, and it's encouraging me to keep on keeping on. Today I thought I would start to show my process of making my little booklets, pockets, tags. I don't have many left of these tags that I showed in my very first video, and I have to complete some journals, so I thought maybe you could craft with me as I make them, and I'll explain how I do them. It will be quite a long video, quite a long process, so I might do it in a few separate parts, so that way you're not sitting for too long watching. So I think I should tell you the first thing you'll need are your supplies. So the basis of all of my pockets and tags and little booklets are old books. So I'll just bring these over here. And because when I make journals, I usually use old books. So I empty them out, and then if I like the font or the type, the feel of the paper of the pages inside a book, I will keep them, because I like to include them in other journals, or otherwise I like to use them to make tags and pockets and whatever. This is what we're doing today. So for example, this book I wouldn't use. It's an old French book, but it has lovely images in it. So this is the type of book that I would keep just to put some of these pages in journals. So I won't use that for tags. This I will, because I like the colour of the old paper, and I love these numbers here, and I quite like the font. So this is a good book to use to make tags and pockets. And this is also a good one. It's not particularly old. I think it was from the 60s or the 70s, but it's in German, and I quite like the font, so that's good for making tags, and it's a nice big size. The bigger sizes are also good for making pockets as well. So these types of fold over pockets like this. So you need a bigger size book for that. And then this is a lovely old book that has beautiful old quite thick pages, and they're very textural sort of pages, so that's why I kept that one, and I like the way the writing is on the page. And then I love this one. I think it's in Latin, and I think it's a learning Greek book, and it looks like it's been typed on the typewriter, and it was quite an old book if I remember correctly, and I just love it. And the paper's really yellow and textural, and this is my favorite. I like making especially pockets and tags with this one. And so no, I haven't included that in any journals. And then this is a little civil law sort of book in French, and I love this, and I like to use this to make the pages are quite thin, so you have to glue a few more together. You'll have to judge that. So I might do 5 pages, and I would use this to make pockets or one big tag out of that, because it's quite small. And then I love the font on this one. It's in German. It's not very old. I quite like the colour of the paper. It's a creamy sort of colour, and it has a nice feel, and it's quite thick, so that's good for making tags or pockets. And then this is another super old book that I have. I don't think I've used that one for making any tags or pockets, but I can, and I do put some of these pages back into old books. And here, this is, as you can see, I've used this one a lot. I like to use this to include into books, but also I'm been making a lot of tags and pockets, and this is a very good size for making these little books here. So when we get to that, I will tell you the size of that book. And then this is another good little one that's very old, and I just would use that for tags or pockets. And I think that's about it as far as my books are concerned. So you just have to make a judgment call as to whether or not you want to use the book. The pages are really nice to put into journals, or whether you want to use them to make pockets and tags and things like that. So the next thing you'll need are a whole lot of printouts. So I'll have them in different sizes. So some of these are smaller than, they might be a 4 by 6. Some are smaller, some are bigger, because these are good or to decorate a big tag, or otherwise quite good to, what was I going to say? I like to use them on my for my covers as well, but they're also good to make journaling cards out of. And then I'll also print out a whole lot of images in a very small size. So this is the larger size. So with my HP, I'll put select 4 images and print 4 to a page, and that's about the size you get. And then you can do 9 to a page with the HP, and they work out quite small. And these are good for putting on pockets or tags or mini tags, whatever you like. So just print out a whole lot of images that you like. Some of them I got from Mrs. Coggs. Most of them are public domain images that I found. Some are from kits. That's from a kit that I got. And I just cut them all out ready to go so I can choose. And then the next thing you need to do this project is a whole lot of scraps. So strips of paper. I don't throw anything out, which is a bit of a pain because I end up with so much stuff. But anyway, I put all my scripts in here that I might like to use when I'm making tags and things, and I like to tear it if I can, if it's big enough to tear. And then I'll have even smaller bits that I just keep in a basket here, and there'll be smaller bits in there that I might like to use. Like I like that word there, I like this piece of paper. I think this was from a cover that was tearing off, and the inside cover of a book, and I just kept it because I liked it. So you have that. And then if you have the opportunity to have them, it's great to have some, I love using these old initials that they used to sew onto things. And then I printed some images on fabric, but I probably won't use those. I like using those for making cards. And then also you might like to have some printed little bunnies or birds, just little stamped pieces of fabric, and I usually stamp them with a permanent fabric ink, so you might like to have those as well. And then obviously you need glue stick and some PVA glue as well here, and you'll need scissors and pencil, and I like to have my metal ruler on hand if I want to tear anything. What else do we need? Oh, I might print out some digi-kits as well, and I'll print some out on, so this is just printed out on some ivory Fabriano paper, copy paper, so it's lightweight, so that's really great for tearing and collaging. And then I've printed these on a high quality, so you can see the definition here, because I might like to just glue those onto a tag and make a full tag out of that. So I have some with high quality as well. And then what else do we need? I think I've said, oh, your paper cutter, and I think that's about it. So the first job is to prepare a whole lot of pages. So here I've prepared some before, so they've dried. So I've prepared them in all different sizes to make different things. And I'll just go ahead and prepare all of those before I start any kind of creative process. So I'll show you how I do that. Might have to sit down. Maybe we'll use this. What about this German one? And it'll be the same process whether the book is big or small. So this is quite a thick paper, so I'll probably do 4 pages here. But if it's a thinner paper, you might need to do 5 or 6. That's just up to you. So what I do is, I'm just going to sit down for this, is I won't even tear the pages out of the book. I'll just get my glue stick, and then I will flip over my first page and then just roughly glue it all like this, and then fold the page down and smooth it over with my hand. And then I'll lift those two. I won't even go right to the edge, because once I have decided what I'm doing with this, I'm going to be stitching around it anyway, around the border anyway, because I like that effect. If you don't like that effect, be careful to glue all the way to your edges, but I'm going to be sewing them, so I'm not worried about that. And I'll turn them both over, and then do some more gluing like so, and smooth it all out with my hand. Then I'll lift all of those. Just be careful that you've lifted up all the pages, and then I'll glue my last page like so. Oh, I'm a bit nervous about doing this. I don't even know if I'll publish it. And then smooth it all out, and then I think that's enough. Yep, that's going to be enough. If you don't want them as thick, you can do less pages. That's just the total judgment call. And then I'll tear them out. Just do one last smooth over, and then I'll put them to one side to dry. So it's a good idea, maybe if you're going to make a whole lot, to prepare them the day before, or even the morning before, and then they'll be nice and dry and won't do anything to your poor needle in the sewing machine or all that sort of thing. So just glue that in. And then, so as I said, it's the same whether you're doing a large book or a smaller book. It's the same process. The only thing that might change is obviously the size and then thickness of the paper, so how many pages you might decide to glue down. So here I go. Okay, just one side note, if you're making tags, sometimes I leave them with writing on them, but I also collect up, where did I put them? I was trying to be tidy, and now you see when you tidy up you can't find anything. It always happens. Oh, here they are. So what I do is I always, because I empty out a lot of books, I like these pages. I keep them all in, all of the single pages I keep in a plastic bag, and I like to keep these pages that don't have a lot of writing, because if you want a tag that's blank on the other side, what you could do, or what you can do even after, is you glue the blank side to the other side, and then you've got a lovely old paper that you can write on. So there'll be two different ways that I can show you to do that. I do that, or I do like a collage with new and old paper. And the other option is, if you were in this book and you were to come to the end of a chapter, normally at the end of this one's not like that. Let's see if we can find another one that shows it better. Let me see here. This one doesn't it? I'm not very lucky, am I? Nope. Find another one. Which one had that? Let me see, this one does. So this big book here has images as well. So here we go, we have an image. So if I was wanting this to be, glue these pages together for tags, what I would do is glue this, well I might as well do it now, show you. So glue this one down. Glue that one down, and then glue this one down. Okay, like so. And there I've got a beautiful white background, or off-white background, but I'm thinking maybe it's not quite thick enough, so what I can do is then on the top glue another page. So I've got my 4 layers glued together like so. The 4 layers glued together like this, and then this is great for tags. So I'll cut out different size tags from there, and I have the white on the back to write on. And I always, or I'm going to make another page, another set for tags, but otherwise I tear these pages out where there's a nice big plain space with no writing, and I'll put them to one side because I can use those for tags and when I want to make journaling cards as well. So I might just give you some measurements of my books, tell you how I would use them. So this one is 22.5 centimeters by 15.5, or 9 inches by 6 inches. So this is good for making these, where are my pockets here? These types of pockets. I just trim off a little bit on either side, as you can see, and then fold it up, or otherwise they're good for making tags. So you can get quite a few tags out of this one. And then I mentioned before I like to make these little books here. I'll just show you those, which I love these. I like to use this size book, and this one is 11.5 by about 18.5 centimeters, or 4.5 inches by 7.25. Yeah, 7.25 inches. So that's a really good size for making this type of book. As you can see, it's half. Just fold it over. So that's that. So once my pages are dry, I'll just move all of these books out of the way. Sorry. So once my pages are dry, I will then trim them down with my trimmer. So I'll just get my trimmer up. I'm sorry guys, I have a very messy, small working space. So here is I like this trumper sort of trimmer. I had one of those sliding ones. I had a Stamperia one. It's probably not nearly as good as, what's that brand? The, is it Frisco's? I can't remember brand. But I just decided to skip the whole cutter one and use this one that comes down. So what I'll do is I'll trim my rough edge off. If you like the rough edge, you can keep it, but I trim it off because I'm not always very precise. I tend to do things very willy-nilly, and then my pages might not be even. So if they're not even, just trim them off. And this one, I'm thinking I'm going to cut it in half, so I'll just measure it. It's about 22.5, so a little bit over 11. I'm going to cut it in half. So, and then I might cut this in half again, and these are going to be tags, kind of half. I just do it by eye. You can measure if you want to be precise. So these are going to be tags. So first, my whole process is first I'll cut up all of my dried pages into the different bits that I want. So these are going to be tags because they have the lovely white on the back. I wouldn't make those into pockets because that's a waste of your plain paper on the back. And then something like this can be this one here. So this is like that. I might decide to cut that. First I'll trim it off. I might decide to cut that in half and make 2 pockets. I might use a little bit for tags. Let me just see my proportions. That would be a nice size for a pocket there. So that would be a pocket, like a long flat pocket along the bottom. So I'll put that in a different pile. And this I might decide to cut in half and make 2 tags. Like so. 2 skinny tags, so they can go in the tag pile. Where are some other ones that I prepared? So these are good for pockets. So to make my other pocket, I'm going to trim it off about just where the writing is. That's it. And I won't throw that out. I could stitch that to another bit and then make a little tag out of that. So I'll keep those. And then I'm going to trim off. So I really do everything by eye, where I don't really measure anything. So I could stitch, see, I could stitch these 2 together and then make some mini tags. That's a good idea. And then here, let me see. So if I fold that up, that's going to be good. Okay, so that's going to be a pocket. So I'll show you how you do that in another video. And then what else did I have to prepare? Oh, I had my little books. So these are going to be my little books here. And I'll just trim off my rough edge. It's very simple. If you haven't gone straight, just make it all straight. And then basically I'm going to fold that in half. And that's going to be the base for a book. So I think I've showed you all my different ways that I cut it up. So I will prepare a whole lot of those. I'll show you some done. So here, a few weeks ago, before I had my market, and then they've just been sitting there, so they're very dry. I'll just prepare a whole lot. Now some will be blank on the other side and some won't. A lot of them aren't actually. I didn't even think about it. There you go. So the easy way to, I didn't cut these with a die cut or anything like that. I saw Yisavey, Y-S-A-V-E-Y. She did a video about creating ephemera, and she didn't do it with book pages, but she did it with scrapbooking scraps. But basically what a really cool way, I'm sure many people do it this way, is to, I can't find my paper scissors, so we'll use these big ones. So basically what I do is I will cut my corner like so, and then so that's the corner there, and then I'll turn it over, line it all up. It's never perfect, but it's close enough, and then cut the other side. And at this point, before I've decorated them, I do not punch my hole, because I'll do that after, once I've done any kind of embellishing. So I will prepare a whole lot, even mini ones, because I might have had a strip left, and I really like these little mini ones. So I'll prepare a whole lot of those, and then I will prepare a whole lot of pockets. I'll just show you how I do those. So basically I'll just do some regular rectangle ones in all different sizes, because I never know what size my book's going to be. And then I'll do some corner ones, and I'll round one corner, and so that can go in the book on that way, or it can go on the other page that way. So you'll have to decide. That will depend how you decorate it. And I'll do some longer ones, and then I'll do smaller ones like that. And then, where are they? A little bit disorganized I am. Those are for books. Oh, here it is. So then I prepare, so this one here I showed you before, it becomes like that. So what no, that's my book, so this one. So what I'll do is, before I do anything, I will round my corners like so. And then that's ready for embellishing. So I will prepare a whole lot of those ready to go, and then I'll just have an embellishing day, and then I have all my books. And my books I will also do the same, and I will cut my corners like this as well. So that's the first step, is to prepare all of your bits and pieces, and then you can sit down and start the embellishing. So that will be the second process. Oh, and this is another envelope. I really can't remember who I saw that from. It might have been from Creative Savvy, where you have, I didn't even glue that one very well, but basically you have your big piece of paper, and then you fold it down. I think I trimmed that off because, I trimmed it off because I didn't like, it was too tall. So you fold down there, and then you fold this up, and you fold it down, and then you'll have an envelope. So that all has to be, it has to be embellished. You can glue that down if you want to. I tend to just stitch it and put a little bit of glue. So I'll be decorating that one as well. So that's part one finished. I think I'll stop the video because otherwise it'll be too long. I'll tidy up my desk so I can be a little bit more organized and quicker with the next process, and I'll show you how I decorate some of them. Thank you. Bye.